Alright, hello everybody. No matter what nationality you are, I hope you worship the Creator and you're here to learn so that you can use the things that you learn to wake people up, because we're in the land of Nod. That's why people always go, "You're asleep." No other place in the world do they do that shit. We are in the land of lies. I was at work today, and this this European woman who claims to be American says to the Asian, who's really an African, "What's your worst, what do you hate worst about Americans?" And all of a sudden, I heard in my mind a guy standing there with a timer and going, "How many can you get in 20 seconds?" And, that's what I heard, but the woman said to the little Asian dude, "What do you hate worst? What's the worst thing about Americans?" And, he didn't give her an answer, of course, because they didn't pay their bill yet or tip yet, so I think that was the smartest thing he could have did. But of course, I spilled on myself. Oh, shit. Like a fucking child, man. But of course, the lies have to be the biggest, because when you get into the American lies, one goes into the next, and the deceit is insane. It truly is insane. Christianity leading the whole world into believing that Christ is God, and that's leading the whole world into the abyss, or hell, however you want to put it. White supremacy? Come on. I don't know. Taxes? There's so many things to hate about America. If you said, "What do you love about America?" I don't know, I'm flabbergasted right now. I think that would probably shut me up. So, we have been learning for some time. We've learned that the Canaanites are the people that we call, for the most part, Asians today. We learned that the Chinese is the Shin, or the Shinto, or the Shinta, or the Shinto, however you want to do it. But they are the people of Sin. You drop the H and you have S-I-N instead of S-H-I-N. Drop the H, you have S-I-N. You can find any encyclopedia that's going to tell you the same thing. You type in Shinto religion, that's the religion the Bible calls worship of Ashtaroth. There's no way around this. So people going around saying, "People in China are Moab," they're fucking lying to you. Their ancient name is really connected to their modern name, and there's no fucking way around it. Period. People are just plainly lying to you. Now, we know the Hittite from Canadian writings of 1890. We know the Hittite has been in Canada. They're considered Mongolian, even though they're African. Now that's the fucked up thing. The guy writing says, "Hey, the Hittite, the John Campbell, 1890. Very easy to find, not hard at all." John Campbell, 1890, compares the Peruvian people down there, the Incas in Peru, to the Hittites in Canada. And we know from the Bible, Hittites are African. Where the fuck are there any black Africans? So today we're going to examine the Philistines, the people that were called Cathorum first, and then they were moved by the Lord from Africa, out of Africa, to an area. Now, the area that they were in is a place that Israelites previously resided. That's the interesting thing that the Bible says. Now, Catholic authorities want you to believe that Israel is in what we call the Levant area of the Mediterranean Sea. Now, the Mediterranean is very important. You, with dark skin, you have sickle cell anemia running through your body. People of the Mediterranean have thalassemia or something like that, which is an anemia. We have blood anemia, and they have bloody anemia. It's very interesting. On the lower half of the Mediterranean, you have Morocco and the people that used to live in Morocco. Hannibal, a black African, who historians say is Esau. Turks are light-skinned and stringy hair. There's evidence that Turks are Esau, the mighty men of what? Esau. Obadiah talks about the Turkish Empire. It might be the Byzantine Empire. When the Ottoman Arab Empire is talked about in Obadiah. See, this is the things you're not learning from other Bible. You're learning right here. This is the point of 700 videos. Because inch by inch by inch, we learn the truth. Today we're going to learn about the Philistines and who they really are. Now, when Israel was at war with the Philistines defeated Israel. And the Philistines kept the Ark of the Covenant. Now, the Ark of the Covenant, it had a really, really profound effect on the Philistines. So they had to hide it somewhere where the Israelites couldn't get it to attempt to defeat the Philistines again. So, what we're going to do is we're going to listen to some people say that they're Israelites or related to Israelites. But we already know that's not true, based on their physical appearance. And later down the line, or if you feel like it, we're going to bring out the Bible stories and match it to this video so that people can clearly see that the people I'm about to show you are the Philistines. Not the people that are in the West Bank now. Now, are you ready? When we go into the Wikipedia, it explains that Chinese and Japanese are called Shinto. But it's very interesting because the Japanese, well, you'll see along the way. Now, the Cathorum are not considered Canaanites, but they were brought up and into Canaanite land. Now, we're going to see something huge, all right? And the evidence that you're going to see, they're going to present it in a way like they're a bloodline. And based on the words I've shown you in this little monologue, you're going to see that they're not a bloodline. You're going to know immediately they're not a bloodline. But you're going to understand where this history comes from and why they're portraying it at the angle they are. Okay. Now, I've probably hidden it in the title. I mean, I probably plain out told you in the title. We're going to be looking at the Japanese people today. And I'm going to say that I believe the Japanese are the Philistines of the Bible, the Cathorum, Africans. Now remember, the Chinese man did the DNA test and he said, we believe everybody stemmed from us. But then they found that they stemmed from other people and found that they were Africans. Now, that video It means a lot to some people, but a lot of people really haven't dug into the full interpretation of what that actually means. Because these people are literally saying that they're Africans. On another video, not on this video. This video is, if you were into the Bible, this is going to blow your fucking mind. Climbing to the mountain of truth. Climbing the mountain of truth. Truth does not end in vain. Says German philosopher Nietzsche. The truth of history is really a grand mystery. With interference, reasoning, deduction, and theory, people have been imagining and pursuing fantasy and truth. Tonight we will be introducing unsolved mysteries of the Japanese history and pursue the lost truth. I'm going to mute this. There's no point in that playing with me. Huh? Oh, that's horrible with no sound, isn't it? You just hear that fan over and over again. That's annoying, isn't it? New theories for Japanese. So there's a Japanese folk song. It's called Yaren Soran, and it was Hebrew. Mysterious correspondence between Japanese and Hebrew. Are the roots of Japan traced to ancient Israel? He says, I was so surprised. It is a mysteries. So they're going to say mysteries over it. In Japan, there exists the shrine named David. So they'll be looking at this later. And there's a shrine with David's name in it. What is the evidence from 1300 years ago? History is the fantasy of imagination is my motto. I am the president of Mino Mystery Museum, Manta Mino. So this is Manta Mino. And this is his assistant, Miho Ohashi, announcer. And today's mysteries are not just mysteries. We have here 4 controversialists.
ミステリーといえばどんな興味をお持ちですか。
He asks if he's interested in mysteries. He says, well, we don't know old times exactly, so they are mysteries. But I'm especially interested in the Buddhist monk Kukai. For instance, what was he doing, and he'd like to meet him. So he brings this guy up, so he says, ooh, the sudden appearance. You know, there's no appearance, it's just the thought of this character of the history. So he says, what do you know? What do you want to know, don't you? And he says, yes, I even wish I could meet him. And invite him as a guest. What do you say history in English history? His story. To tell the truth, history is his story. So here we have this setting you up to believe that they're going to tell you the truth. Do you know who he is? Now watch, here's where they just go off base completely to a degree. Do you know who he is? He is the Messiah. Now, here we have some kind of a problem. Obviously, his story deals with the Creator. The first line in the Bible is God created or created God. Okay? So his story has nothing to do with the Messiah. But when we go back a little bit and they have carved in the tree David right here, see at 104 when they have the tree and it says they have a shrine to David. Here, I'll just click on it real quick. There in Japan there exists a shrine to David. So when we go back up here when he says his story is for the Messiah, right? So this is a reference to David. Now, I don't care if the Japanese believe in Christ. I don't care if the Japanese believe Goku can fire fucking fireballs. The Bible says that Prince David is the begotten son. The hidden books taken out of the Bible state that David gets to rule in the afterlife. So that places David as the Messiah. Now, we'll continue. That is the history of him, his or him, or, and to him. Now we will introduce some mysteries of history. We'd like you to enjoy and think what the facts are. The first one is this. Well, everyone, have you ever thought of the roots of Japan? If the roots were connected with Israel, land of 9,000 kilometers away, what do you say? So I'm going to take a second right here. Now I want you to understand. When someone asks what is the roots of Japan, that's kind of interesting because you would think that the Japanese understand where they come from. You would think that most nations that didn't deal with, slavery as we have would know where they came from. Not, we have way back in history kind of knowledge. No, meaning the exact branch of who they come from. So from that statement, we understand to a degree the Japanese don't really know where they came from. But they do know how long they've been in Japan. Now keep this in mind. It says, do you believe this mystery? Here's mystery one. Why do Japanese characters look like Hebrew ones? It says, I'd like you to see this. These look almost similar. Now, when you look at it, oops, that's not good. Now, when you look at it, see it says this is a K. This is how you spell a K, and one's Hebrew and one's Japanese. This makes the sound of ko. This is another there and there. I can't see what those letters are. But when you compare the Hebrew and the Japanese, you can see that the images are relatively the same. This line continues through, this line stops there, but if it continued through, it would be the exact image. Now, it says these look similar. Can't think of it as just a coincidence. Why do the characters of two different languages look alike? Now they're highlighting this, but later they'll explain that over 500 words in the Japanese lexicon match Hebrew words. Not just a few, not just some alphabetical letters. Over 500 words match. And it said, hidden the biggest secret of Japan's history. A large group of 190,000 people migrated to ancient Japan, crossing the sea. Now you understand Japan's an island. If you didn't know that, Japan is a fucking island. So this group of people migrated over or immigrated over to Japan. Who were they? Seeking a key to solve the mystery, we investigated legends of their shrines. So in Japan, we have these shrines. Now it turns out a lot of the shrines we're going to see today aren't Japanese shrines. So it seems that at least a few of the shrines in Japan are not Japanese. Another culture went on Japanese soil while Japanese people lived there. They were allowed to live there, and they created their own shrines separate from the Japanese shrines. So they were seeking a key to find the mystery, and this is what they found. It's said that the shrine was to worship Jewish God. Now you know and I know before, they ain't call these people Jews, they call them the Israelites. So it is said that this shrine was to worship Israelite God. Now you're going to see Jewish over and over again. Now every time they say Jewish, I'm not going to stop and say, no, 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 not Jewish, Israelite. You already know, I know. So it is said that the shrine was to worship Israelite God. Jewish God in Japan. The treasure from 1300 years ago shows their true character. Now he has a mask here, and later in the program we'll get to see the mask, and the mask leads us to a different character. The mask is truly important, and we'll see a lot of it now. We'll see it later. Sorry. The first appearance on the TV show, a Western face with a high bridge nose from 1300 years ago. Looking into history, we find strange connection between Israel and Japan. Who were the large group of people who immigrated into ancient Japan? Rabbi Avichil, I will investigate Japan from February 2007. So in February 2007, he states he's going to investigate Japan. Tonight, a shocking fact will be revealed. The mystery of the 10 lost tribes. Now, listen, we already know the 10 lost tribes were in America, and some are still here, some were dispersed. From my studies, the root of us, or the heart of us, is mainly Ephraim mixed in with a bunch of other tribes. That's from my studies. You believe whatever you want. Some fucking idiot that can't even tell you where you're from tells you that you're fucking Judah, then believe what the fuck he says. The clue for the ancient connection between Israel and Japan was in Japanese traditional folk song. So I'm going to skip a little bit of this, okay? So we're going to go down here some. Now they're going to go take the Japanese song to the ambassador of Israel on Japanese soil, Mr. Eli Cohen. What do you think it means? Now I'm not asking you guys, just sit and listen to this. Don't type shit, just listen to all this first. Listen to everything before you go type crazy. Yarn means to sing song. Now listen, if you know Hebrew and you think he's translated in it to Yiddish, leave your translation, but leave a way to check your translation. Don't just write down, it says blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to accept that. I will erase that. I will not let somebody mistranslate for all of us and then all of us think we're being told the truth. If you got a link that shows Hebrew, not Yiddish, leave the link. We can investigate this. Other than that, right now we got to kind of believe what this guy says, whether it's Yiddish or not. I have no idea. To enjoy singing, yarn. And soren means ladder. Enjoy singing plus ladder. Now we're going to go to the fishing hut at a traditional herring is a fish, herring cabin. So how did all these people feed themselves? They feed themselves with fishing on the coastline. And they sang songs as they climbed up and down the ladder. They sang songs about climbing up and down the ladder. To do what? To hang fish in the ceiling. In the past, fishermen climbed up the ladder. They looked at the approach of herring shoal from the skylight. So up here they came out like a lighthouse, but they're looking for herring shoal. Singing the song and enjoying each other. So, back then, they didn't have a radio. They didn't have musical artists. So they just sang a basic song. We climb up this ladder and look out and see if the herring's coming. The herring is the fish. They can see either their bodies through the water or something is produced. I don't know what shoal is. So we're just going to keep moving. It says, then why does the song contain Hebrew words? Is it just a coincidence? It says, when I came to Japan, I was so surprised to see the Japanese culture and customs to be very similar to the ones of Israel. The ambassador tells there are many similarities between Israel and Japan. Now, for instance, this is very important. People shout Essa, Essa, carry the omarki, excuse me. Oh, pardon me, woo. They say Essa, Essa, Omi, Kashi ark. Okay? Essa is not Esau. Essa is to carry, right? So they're carrying this Omikashi ark. We have the same word in Hebrew. It is to carry. Essa in Hebrew is carry or to pick up. Essa to carry in Hebrew, same meaning in Japan. I know the Israel is far from Japan, about 90,000 kilometers distance on the other side of the world. Okay, actually, we live in the New World and we know that's not on the other side of the world. It's connected to the same continent, so that's silly. It states it's a republic country facing the Mediterranean Sea and consisted of about 70 million people. What relationship was there in Israel and Japan?
日本に暮らすイスラエル人もその共通点にたびたび驚かされているという。
Alright, they're just going to talk about some words that match up. So, he says, there's no similarity between the languages, but Japanese has many similar words to Hebrew, ones in which both meanings and sound. So the two, what he's saying, they have many words. Not only are they sound the same, they have the same meanings. And he says you can't think of it just as a coincidence. I'd like you to see. This is a comparison between Japanese and Hebrew characters. And there you can see the whole script of that, and the next line. You can see how these all kind of match up. You know, Hebrew characters above and Japanese characters below. So down here you can see ko, ku, and you can see how these are pronounced. With a lexicon like this, it would be easy to learn anybody's language. Yeah, ha, wa, hi, ri, right? And these are how you write that shit. This is Japanese on the bottom, it's Hebrew on top. You know, both of us can see that shit looks relatively the same. And there you have a look at it again. You know. So look, you can always pull up this video. This is 1 of 7, root of Japan, or H of Hebrew. And you can examine the language stuff. And we're going to skip ahead. So ancient Israel split into two countries, south and north, in 926. And later, both lost their countries by invasions of neighboring countries. See, so this is the whole point of the Messiahs during the time of Roman siege. These men of Israel said, we must seek a country for ourselves, so we be not vessels to other people. Alright, it states, at the time, 10 tribes of Israel out of the 12 vanished and became missing. Now, we all know that these Ashkenazis carry the name of Japhet's people, and they pretend to be Hebrew. Well, we all understand Tiglath-Pileser, his role in the 10 tribes vanishing, Shalmaneser, and Sargon II. We all understand their roles. If not, you just have Assyrian captivity of Israel. Click on the image that's under Wikipedia, and it shows you the timeline and the routes that each took to remove them, so to speak. But again, I don't believe that's where it is, especially after seeing this video. So they're called the Lost 10 Tribes of Israel. It is one of the biggest mysteries in the world. It is... Oh, yeah, I read that already. Their history was also of wars. Kingdom was built around 1021 BCE, later split into two countries, south and north, in 922. The northern kingdom of Israel perished in 722, and the southern kingdom of Judah perished in 586. Ever since, whereabouts of the 10 tribes of the northern kingdom were unknown. It ain't like they know where the Jews are either. It is said that they were scattered to places of Asia, but the truth was not well known. So now their version of it is you're just scattered in Asia. The theme of the big hit movie Indiana Jones was also scattered, was also the scattered Israelites and Jews. It is a mystery adventure looking for their lost Ark of the Covenant. Where do the Israelites with their treasures go? Their whereabouts are a legendary and mystery. Whatever. But we found a description in the 4th book of Ezra concerning their whereabouts. They are the 10 tribes. Their journey through that region, which is called Arzareth, was long and took a year and a half. So on their own they moved. As Arzareth. Arzareth might be Hebrewed for Eretz Ahireth, the most distant land. Now, if you're over there in the old world, then we all know the most distant land from the old world is what they call the New World. It's not Asia. It's not China. It's not Russia. It's on the other side of what they call the globe. Did the 10 lost tribes of Israel reach Japan through the Silk Road? It's said that their population might have been more than 1 million. Where did they vanish to? So, through their investigation, they found a clue. Articles said that they had brought 800 people of the lost 10 tribes back to Israel. Now, it's kind of cool because they put the article on the page. Now, I looked this up yesterday, and it's the Beni Menashe, right? And they say that they're the sons of Manasseh. So they that brought them back are the Israeli, and you can see that they brought other Asiatic or basically Canaanites back. And they are called the Shin. See, that's Chinese word right there, the Shin. See, that's exactly how you find when they're fucking lying, because they still got their original name, Shin Lung. The Shin are the Chinese, so this is a branch of Chinese being brought to where? To Israeli, claiming that they're Israelites. The 800 people were of the Menash Shinlong tribe, moved in Myanmar, formerly Burma. And I'm telling you, this is all bullshit, and you can tell because they don't have Afro-Asian features. So the Amishiv, the organization which brought them back was the Amishiv, right? The Amish. Look, it's the fucking Amish. Come on. Like, they think some fucking retards watching this shit saying, "Oh, Japanese people are..." Bullshit, dude. They're fucking with some motherfucking Amish, dude. You know, and it pisses me off that these people would even go through all this shit, you know? Like, it truly does. Amish. We looked for Amishev in Jerusalem, right? So they went to Israeli and they looked for this Amish dude. So they're basically just repeating themselves right now. Hold on for a minute until this guy. He's the president. Revisit the president of Amish. That's the worst thing about America. The fucking lies. The rest of the world lies too. So it's Rabbi Eliyahu Avichael, head of Amish Abe. Amish Abe. Now, don't you like your tip? Now, stop singing. He looks like a Jew. Pretend he's wearing a fucking Amish hat. Don't you look like your typical Amish dude? You live in America. You live in the East Coast. You see Amish fuckers all the time. Don't you look like the typical Amish dude? Come on. This shit's just out of hand now. Out of hand.
その昔古代イスラエルから消えた樹種族そして日本文化に刻まれた数々のイスラエルとの共通点その関係とは
So they're highlighting the similarities and what's the relationship, and these are the people that they claim that are the sons of Manasseh. It turned out that the Manasseh tribe of Manasseh are descendants of Manasseh, one of the 10 tribes of Israel. And, you know, I'm throwing in my bullshit card. You know, I mean, if I showed you what I think the tribe of Manasseh looks like, you know, you'd be like, oh, because they look like you. They're mixed with Egyptians. They're light-skinned versions of you. So it says in 1994, these Asians returned under the guise that they are Israelites from Manasseh. So he says many of the 10 tribes were scattered to the east. They might have traveled through China or Korea and finally reached Japan. Our investigation plan includes Japan, where you live. Just mute that. So, Japan is an object of their investigation. From February 2007, we will begin the investigation. Are the descendants of lost tribes of Israel really in Japan? Oh boy. So now they're going to go over here and they're going to play these little fucking games. And, like, basically they got this board. And up here, they have these words. In Japan, they're one thing. In Hebrew, they relatively sound the same and mean the same. So if you're interested in learning about what words sound the same and things of that nature, then, you know, this is a section for you, but I'm going to skip over it. It says, according to the Japanese genealogy, Shinsen, see, Shin, Shouju, or whatever, in 815 CE, alright, so that's still BCE, alright, a large group of people immigrated to Japan, crossing the sea in the 4th century. The king of Yuzuki immigrated to Japan with his 127 groups of people. So then you have a name here. It's King Yuzuki, right? So Y-U, is it S? I'm so fucking retarded. Z-U-K-I. S. What is fucking Yusuf? Z-U-K-I. Oh man, it just all went away. Yuzuki. So we're looking for the year, he said, 4th century. It said 815 or something like that. 815 CE. Okay? So we don't even have to type that in. What we need to do is scroll down until we find something talking about that time. That's 1983. That's not going to be what we're looking for. Alright, let's type in King Yuzuki and see what comes in. King of the Dance with Mr. Kids. Yuzuki. It's a wrestler. 1979. Well, if we can't find... See, this is the person, this is the king of the people that led them in. We can also try Shin Sen Shoj, whatever this name is. We can try typing that in 850. Well, you can always try 850. 815, buddy. And you can see nothing really comes up. Now, I just, because we're in the middle of a video, I'm not going to sit there and, search forever, but this is how the history is written. That a large group of people immigrated to Japan, crossing the sea. King Yuzuki immigrated to Japan with 127 groups of people. All right? They were called the Hata clan. Alright? So, the Hata clan. Their homestead, Yuzuki, was along the Silk Road in today's Kazakhstan in Central Asia. The land was prosperous with various nations and cultures. Records say a large group of Hata people came from there. Emperor Nintoku said to them, the silk gowns you brought is very soft and warm. So this is saying that the Silk Road existed, but these people brought silk to Japan. Not the other way around. Not Japan had silk before they arrived. These people brought silk to Japan. The Hata clan was indeed people of silk. It is said that those 127 groups meant 190,431 people. Pardon me. They mainly lived in Kinki area and also various other areas of Japan. So the main body of them stayed in Kinki, but others of them dispersed throughout. The head of the Hata people in the 6th and 7th century was Kawakatsu Hata. He served as chief attendant to Shutoku Taisi, great politician. Now these two names you can type in and look up. I've done that myself. They're very easy to find. He gave big help to Shotoku Tashashi's achievements. The stronghold of Hata people was today's Kyoto. Kyoto. Koroyiji Temple was built by them for Shotoku Taishi. This area was called Uzumasa, or Uz-U-Masa, which was much connected to their religion. Who and what are the Hata people? The Konoshima Jinja shrine, which they built in Uzuma area, had a secret to their character. Has a secret to their character, excuse me. Mr. Usama Uenda, researcher living in Kyoto, said a surprising thing. It looks like a common shrine which can be seen anywhere, but is related to Nestorian Christianity and much influenced by Jewish people. If you type in Nestorian Christianity, that's Christianity of Asia. That leads us back to Marcion. This is why this man opens up with his belief in his story has to deal with the Messiah, because Marcion already played in these people's head. Jesus can't be related to the God of the Old Testament. Too many things are not in agreement. Immediately worshiping Jesus is worshiping another God. You're already barred from heaven. You're already dispelled from heaven. And I don't understand how average people that claim they're fucking smart don't understand that. They act like God grew old and died and Jesus took his place. These people are fucking retards. But this is this Nestorian Christianity. Everywhere Israelites went, Christianity went to keep them worshiping a different God so they could be kept as slaves. You make big money off slaves. Ask the Harrimans. Ask the Goodmans. Ask the McCormicks. The shrine which the Hada people built was a worship place of the ancient Eastern Christianity. He guided us to the relics. In the precedings of the shrine was a pool with no water. Now it has no water. And he keeps saying it's Christianity. He says, what was it for? He says, I think it was influenced by ancient Christianity. Many people visit and put their feet in. The pool is filled with water. In those times, this pool was filled with water. At the end of July, when the Midrash festival is held, people purify their hands and feet with the water of the pool. Look, if this is early Christianity where you just wash your fucking hands and feet, what the fuck are these people dunking themselves in water for now? To wash their whole ass with clothes on? I need a prophet of Baal to stand over me and dunk me under the water so I can wash my ass.
So in the ancient times, for Hebrews, an Israelite, a Levite would tell you to go in the river yourself and bathe. Bathe. Wash thy ass. In Necessitarian Christianity, they washed only their hands and feet publicly with each other. And in modern Christianity, they ask an overseer to politely drown them and wash their ass. Thanks, Baal. Alright, concerning the pool, researcher of ancient history, Mr. Kuju says, there's a similar pool for baptism in Jerusalem. See this bullshit? Them that say they are Jews and are not, under baptism, tell you 9 paragraphs down, it is not Levitical. Not Levitical. And then there's a similar pool for baptism in Jerusalem. Then were the Hada people related to Israel? Kubo says concerning the name of the Uzumasa, where the Hada people lived. The theory of the name originates from Hebrew words gift of light. Uzu is brilliance, Hebrew for Hud, and Masa is gift. I'm gonna go a little further. So we're going back to the shrine, and then it says this is the priest of the shrine. He showed us important clues to identify the Kawatsa or something. So it looks like a common well, but is called the I-Sari, Chinese for Israel. Now look, you take I off and you have Sarah, or Sari, or Sarah. So a lot of people believe that Israel is Isis, Ra, and El in one sentence, but it seems like it's more our mother's name. And that's been hidden from us. You can see that one vowel has been dropped. That's how you get the I-S-R. Sarah. Sarah and L. That's Genesis 25, isn't it? I mean, 20. Is it 25 or 24? When she cries to the Lord and says, "There are 2 nations in my belly." I mean, the stomach of the pain, and he says there are 2 nations in your belly. Our name is from our mother. And this well, I'm going to skip this one. The well is interesting because it says, it is said that the God who is worshipped here is the Jewish one. And when you look down into the well, there's basically 12 stones, 12 faces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So see, they put 12 blah 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 stones, so. Twelve was the number of the tribes of ancient Israel, so they just show that the well relates to the Israelites. So now he brings out the mask, and we're going to get a look at the mask. And it is from 1300 years ago. Alright, so here's the mask. This is what they covered up before. They didn't want to show you yet. Now this mask is traditional something. Hold on. This is really important. The mask, which Kawakatsu Hata did traditional dancing. So this is the guy you could look up, Kawada Katsu, and he did traditional dancing with this mask on, high bridge nose. Says, yes, it is the face of the West with a high bridge nose. And this is the stories about Israel, God of the Jews, and David would come out. It is said that Kawatsuhara had also such a western face with a high bridge nose. The Hata people who immigrated from Central Asia had such western faces and a lot of legends. So when these people came, they came with a lot of stories as well. And this is why you have the influx of words in Japanese culture from Hebrew words. Because if you live in an area without a 7-Eleven and somebody comes and starts telling you about a 7-Eleven, 7-Eleven has just been brought into your lexicon because you've never seen a 7-Eleven and nothing in your place has been labeled a 7-Eleven. So as each story or legend is told, if the Japanese don't have a word for it, then that Hebrew word is then added to the lexicon. It was a mass immigration of 190,000 people. In time, Japanese population is about 6 million. They gave a big influence to Japanese culture. He says we can see the achievements, we can see their achievements at this place. And it starts talking about things that they did, such as the Kaduno Oi irrigation system, which made rapid progress for farming in that area. So they changed the farming with this technique. Fushimi Inari Tashi Shrine, center of all Inari shrines, and the most popular shrine, was also founded by the Hata people. It is the center of all 40,000 Inari shrines throughout Japan. The technique for producing salt, this is producing salt, making salt, not going into a mine and getting salt. This is making salt. The technique for producing salt in Akoi City was also from them. So the Hata people also taught them how to make salt. You see how a picture right there, how their early city was. See, there's a long tent. Can't tell what that is. You see people out here working fields right there. You see some kind of stove or something like that in another. So you can see how relatively distant their hut houses were. You can see that's a person right there. You can see how long that is. And another one from the Hata people. So the Hata people brought them the gagaku, musical instrument of ancient Japan. Now look at this. Doesn't this look like a form of the harp? Talking about David. It says this is Mr. Toshiharu Tagi, ex-president of the music department of the Imperial Household Agency, is a descendant of the Hatta people. Now, if you pause the video, you open up the Book of Psalms. The Book of Psalms, it states things like the chief musician to this person, or to David from this person. But you'll see chief musician brought up a lot. The Hatta clan were surely from abroad. I'm not sure whether they came through the Korean peninsula or directly from China. I think every court musician has descended from Hatta clan is proud of being the descendant. And you see he's talking a lot, but they ain't showing what he's saying. And the pride is that we have been succeeding to the court music still now. So court music, playing for kings and queens, playing for the rich. Were the Hatta people part of this? Okay, whatever. Alright, it's a statement they constantly bring up. Were the Japanese part of ancient roots of Japanese, ancient Israel, blah blah blah. So it says they brought those techniques in those days, but concerning their number, there are several other theories than 190,000. Now listen to this. This is crucial. Crucial. The history record only says 7,000 families. So it depends on how many people there were in one family. In those days, each family was a big one. 3 to 4 generations lived at a time, so if a family meant 25, 26 people, 7,000 families would be nearly 190 people. So, I mean, he brings up a good point, but if 7,000 families of 25 to 26 people equal 190,000 people, then your point's kind of moot. You're just really saying the families were about 25 to 26 people, so there are probably about 7,000 families. Alright, not only they came with high civilization and handed it down to Japanese. Well, did they? Did they hand it down, or was it taken? Now I'd like to show you the Mass from 1300 years ago. So this guy brings the mask out, and they're going to talk about the mask and talk about how the nose looks like it was destroyed and fixed. And now, this guy points to the curator and says, I'm looking at your face. You look like you have come from faraway Israel. So, they're sitting there making jokes about this now. These guys are the same nationality, and he's like, oh, you look like you're from Israel. Yeah, he has big teeth like the mask, right? It looks like the nose is broke and repaired. It also looks like the face of Tenju, Japanese legendary long-nosed goblin. Now we're getting somewhere. Alright, so when we go to Tenju, oh shit, does this open up? Now, who is Tenju? What is Tenju? Oh, so, Tenju, heavenly dog, are a type of legendary creature found in Japanese folk religion. Not folklore, folk religion. And are also considered a type of Shinto god. Remember Shin, Chinese, Shinto god, Kami, or Yaki, supernatural beings. Although they take their names from a dog-like Chinese demon, the Tiangu, the Tenju were originally thought to take forms of birds of prey. Remember the Batman? Right? Batgirl goes on her own and grows up, and it's birds of prey. And they're traditionally depicted with both human and avian bird characteristics. The earliest Tenju were pictured with beaks, but this feature has often been humanized as an unnaturally long nose. So when you see these pictures and they make these noses, they don't normally look like that. They do not look like that at all. Do you see this one? How this thing is a giant fucking bird demon creature? That's what it actually looks like. Okay? So, you see how this one has wings? It's got claws, wings, and a human's face. So, these are demons as far as we can tell from right now. Great and small demons. Alright, so you see how this one, or this type, has human body, wings like an angel, and a bird face. Right? They say Jim Henson was killed because he made the puppets look like the demons that watch over us. Here's another type. Now this looks like the shit you see in the Veda images. You see he's got one of these damn lightsabers, right? See this thing that looks like a fucking cop's baton? When they show you this in picture, it's got glowing shit going up it, like it's trying to show you it's energized. It's like a lightsaber nightstick, so to speak. You gotta take time and look at the Veda images, and you'll see these sticks in their hand. Some of these guys are flying on their own. Some of these guys are on flying chariots, but they're having a war in the sky. And you see he has dragon face features. Big rounded nose, big large eyelids, big eyes. You can see he's got wings. They're in a sitting position. Right? It's very easy to say, oh, it's Satan or it's Lucifer or whatever. You can see it's one of those from those races. And again, when they have the big nose, humans are adding that. They have bird features. Again, you see the big fat baby climbing up to the birds. See the bird face right there? Let me get you in closer. Whoa, how do I do that? Okay. Yeah, see the bird face there? Let's scroll up. And see more bird people up there? Now, don't jump ahead. You guys already know. It's going to show the 47 warrior and all that shit. It's down there at the bottom. So we have images, origins, and things like that in popular culture, manga, television, film, video game. Now, in film, 47 Ronin came out. Now, when 47 Ronin came out, we saw the Tenju monk and he had a bird face. Now, when we saw the Tenju monk on this channel, we did a video about that. We did not really understand the connection, and this fucking thing's actually connected to us. What we did highlight is how the Japanese people kept calling Keanu Reeves a half-breed and a demon. They kept acting as if Keanu Reeves was Naruto himself. So we go here and we type in Tenju. We can type in 47, and you'll type in 47 Ronas for us. And remember the masterful blades that they had. All right. So here they take the bird feature down a ways, right? Now, when we see those ancient pictures, they are big fucking beaks on their head. When we look at these images, they have the long nose to represent how the beak protruded. So let's not get too far over this. Okay, so this leads back to Tenju. Alright, so we're going to skip over to this dude coming to town. So good old Saint Nick comes to town, and it's March 2007 now. So Eli comes into town, and he's the head of Amish AF, whatever. And these are the people. So this guy himself once made 800 people of the Manasseh tribe return from Myanmar to Israel. So he made some Asians with the name of Shin, which means they're Canaanites. He claims these Canaanites are Israelites. So he put a proxy people in place of Israel. Again. You know, and these people, you know, one day you're going to meet these people, and they're going to fucking want you to respect them. And the whole time you were alive, their job and goal was to put people in your place and say you're just nothing but a dumb fucking nigger. When these people come crawling saying, we love God too, I'm going to turn my fucking back. And I'm not telling you to. I'm not telling you to have the heart that I have. I'm not telling you to have the thoughts that I have. I'm just telling you how I feel about this. These people are liars and con men. It's disgraceful. Disgraceful. How they chop up our heritage and take claim. Look at the world. If these are the fucking Jews, what's wrong with the world then? Where were their 400 years of slavery? So he's planning to investigate Japan, alright? So he said, I was going to do it in 2007. Now it's March and he's still planning. Japan is an object of their investigation. So he arrives in Japan. And so they're interested in this Mount Moriah, right? Now, I want you to pay attention to this. You're going to find out there's a lot of things in Japan that are named after places in the Bible. Now, this is really fucked up because we already argue and debate the places in Israel today that are said to be of the Bible. We argue that they are not. Now we have these places in Japan popping up with names of the Bible. Now watch what fake Jew says. Fake Jew comes to Japan and he's taken to Mount Moriah and he says, oh wow, what does Mount Moriah mean to them? Oh, excuse me. So he says the name Moriah is the name as the holy mountain Moriah in Jerusalem. Oh, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? The name Moriah is the same name as a mountain in Jerusalem. I am investigating if the lost tribes of Israel came here. This area might be connected with them. See, not the people. He's not going to find the people there. He's wondering if the area is connected with him. This is investigating just the beginning. We're looking forward to report. See. And he says, now, the roots of Japan were ancient Israel, treasures of Solomon and Shinkoku. Now, tell me right now, is this misleading? The roots of Japan were ancient Israel? Oh, okay. So now Japan are Israelites, right? Alright, so here's where it gets hot. So the Gaion Festival in Kyoto, one of the 3 biggest festivals in Japan. And what they do with the Gaion, it is held for a whole month and accounted as the festival of something, the festival of representing Japan. So, it is held for a whole month and counted as the festival representing Japan. So, when you go to Japan and they say, what's the biggest festival? Everybody says, it's the Gaian Festival! Now, the Gaian Festival, they march around with an ark that represents the Ark of the Covenant. Now listen to this. But there are many strange things on the floats. So the Gaian Festival is the biggest festival. If anybody asks what festival actually represents Japan, it's the Gaian Festival. But there's strange things on the floats. Such as, well, the designs. Why is there Arab shit with owls on their float? So the Japanese people have an Arab city on their float, as if like we used to be in Arabia. It's the drawing of the Palace of Baghdad. So, why is the Baghdad Palace with ISIS, owls, Asheroths? Why is that right there? Then, they got a camel on desert of Egypt. Why they got camels there? They're in fucking Japan, man. These are all scenes of the Silk Road. There go Egypt, right? Pyramid. And one more surprising picture is this. So they claim, what is this in which a man is drinking from a jar of a woman? So they say it's Rebecca giving water to a servant of Abraham. The story from the Bible of Genesis chapter 24. Please lower your jar and let me drink. Let me have a drink. And that's what they believe that is. So what does this mean? They go to the president of Gaian Festival Float Association, Mr. Fukami. He says, I am quite sure Gaian Festival has the same customs and origin as Jewish one in its form, process, and result. Wait, what? What you mean as a Jewish one? So listen. Gaian Festival is connected to Jews Alright, Coogee history researcher says, watch what this month says, it seems that the root of the Gaian Festival were the Zion Festival of King Solomon. Oh. So, when we see Gaian, the Japanese Z or sound that they use with Z is G. ZG. You can't do that with GA. See, it doesn't work with like. You can do that with GC, GZ. You can do it C and G and Z, but so it could have been Kion, but it's Zion, not Gaian. So Mount Zion Festival, they believe they got this from Solomon. The schedule is also very similar. The Zion Festival goes on for a month of 7th month. And in Israel also it went for a month from the first day of the 7th month. So first day of the 7th month, it goes on for that month. So it says table of similarity and of its schedules. And this doesn't mean too much to us because we can't read that shit. But it's okay. I think it's funny how all languages still have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the same thing. Especially the biggest event of the Gaian festival is held on the 17th day of the 7th month. Surprisingly, this was a holy week for the ancient Israelites. It was the day when the Ark of Noah rested on Mount Ararat. And for the Israelites, it was the day to remember the new start. So the Bible expositor says, Japanese people carry the root of the Omikishi Ark, are the lost Ark of ancient Israel, so called the treasure of Solomon. The Ark was in Indiana Jones looked for the movie. It was the divine box of ancient Israel. It disappeared around the time when the Israelites were scattered. The Ark of Israel was the model for the Japanese, the Omishi Ark. The Ark of Israel was a movable shrine. Inside were 3 holy treasures. Surely it resembles the Omishi Ark. Omikoshi Ark. So here you have a digital of the Omikoshi Ark back here. Both arks were covered with gold. Both are movable shrines. Concerning this Omishi Ark, Mr. Eli Cohen, ambassador of Israel, also said, Essa Essa is the Hebrew meaning of carry or pick up. And the people shout Essa as the meaning of carry in Hebrew. Oh, where the 10 tribes go? Scattered Asia. Concerning this, Jewish researchers are now very interested in the specific place of Japan. So the ambassador, he's the former ambassador of Israel to Japan. He's now investigating this place where they believe the Ark has been hidden. So even though they keep on bringing up Indiana Jones, and Indiana Jones in the movie shows you that they believe that the Ark is put in a storage warehouse, the Japanese are showing you their history states that the Ark is here. It says the ambassador came here twice. So this Israeli ambassador came to this mountainous area twice. Let's stop for a second. Alright, so he was looking for the Ark of ancient Israel. So look at this. So this ambassador Cohen, Yarin Sarin, Mr. Cohen, that translated the words of the song for him, he's been to this place twice. He's looking for the Ark of the Covenant in this mountain. And he said, so Cohen said to this guy when he was there, it might be here, somewhere around here. So this, see all these people in suits? This dude comes up here to this mountain area and everybody comes with him. He's been up here twice, right? He visits, this is around 2000, this says 2005. The other guy comes in 2007. Remember, it just turned 2016, dude. They've known for years where the Ark of the Covenant is. And they know they can't fucking touch it. His visit was also reported by the local television station. His investigation was so eager that the local people were surprised. his investigation was so eager. What did he investigate? To meet him, who went back to his country, we flew to Israel. So he investigated this mountainous area, and then he got the fuck out of there and went directly home. So these guys, on their investigation, want to talk to Mr. Cohen, who just left Japan. So they got to go to they got to follow him to Israel just to interview him, to say, what'd you find at this mountain that you went twice to look for the Ark of the Covenant? What'd you find that made you just say, oh, I definitely got to get the hell out of Japan and go back to Israel? So they go to Israel to go find Cohen, see what he's going to tell him. So they find Cohen. He says, how are you? Good. You? And he says, what did you find at Tokushima? Now, all these Shimas, you know, Fukushima, Tokushima, Shim is in there. Not Shem, Shin, but it ends with an M. Remember, China, Shinta is sin. It's a sin religion. People and religion. Shima, even though it's Japanese, it's still on Chinese land. So it says, what did you find at Tokushima? He says, I don't know what age of it is, but I found a menorah mark, a Jewish symbol, at the shrine in Tokushima. And what he finds is he finds 3 circles, and inside them is menorahs pointing out respectively at their own angle. And they'll show the symbol. Yeah, I'll just click to it. See this one right here? Where they show the 3. See, it's got a circle all the way around it. And that's one of the circles. The menorah goes that way. That's one of the circles. The menorah goes that way, and that's one right there. All right. Now, I understand when people see that, they're going to think, oh, Trinity, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I don't give a shit. The Bible don't say shit about a Trinity. All right. And this is why I don't really follow too many symbols. Now, if the Israelites did use these symbols, then they just did. And he found it, blah, blah, blah. And that's cool and all. And this could be, like, really important based on things still not found in this day and age. So let's just take a mental note of it and file it away. He says he also says the ancient shrine he saw, there was a very similar one to Jewish one. So he found the shrine down here at the end, and so he says there are too many coincidences. What at Tokushima are you most interested in? And he says Mount Tsurji. The most thing he's interested in is a mountain. And he says the mountain is located at the center of Tokushima. A mountain has a lot of caves and legends. So they go, what a story. It's a very old festival, has to do with a picture of a camel. So they stop and they start talking about the Ark again. It's very stupid. They're right there at the... So, yes, the first Gaian festival began with prayer that plagues might not be spread. Now again, remember, the Ark of the Covenant might be on their soil. So imagine them having the Ark of the Covenant. They have won the Ark of the Covenant. They have defeated the Israelites. The Israelites have left the Ark of the Covenant. The Philistines tried to lift the Ark of the Covenant. Essa. And they carry it somewhere. As they're carrying it, plagues begin to break out. They devise a plan to put it in the center of this mountain. Now this mountain has lots of rumors and shit about it. Here, let's go back to what it says about the mountain. Mountain has lots of caves and legends. Legends of the cave, right? So, it says the first Zion festival, first Zion festival began with a prayer that plagues might not be spread. So this is another key, what does it mean? A tribute for the Ark of the Covenant. That plagues are released from it. Let's see what else we got. Alright, yeah, it starts in the 7th month and all that good stuff. Alright, let's go to part 4. See, it says it starts with King Solomon's prayer that plagues not. So they brought up plagues twice right before that kick got off. Now, this is really important. So, right before it ended, the host of the show keeps saying, Japanese finds its roots in ancient Israel, meaning that Japanese is a branch of ancient Israel. Now, this is one of, well, how did they term them before? Controversialists. Well, the controversialist says to him, if the Israelites migrated to Japan and influenced on the Japanese culture, it is no wonder that Japanese have similar words. Now, watch the face of the host as this is being said. The host gets pretty bitter. One thing that has come up on my mind is concerning Suma, dwell, and Horobu, perish. They came to Japan for they lost dwelling place, didn't they? Yes, they became wandering people. So they eagerly told in Japan that their country perished and they lost the dwelling place. I think that's how those words were added to Japanese, or how those words are in the Japanese lexicon today, since the Japanese haven't lost their home or been displaced or perished, so to speak, So she makes a good point. And he said they would have told eagerly how they come to Japan, and later those terms became Japanese words. More than we think, the ancient world was narrower and there were many cultural exchanges. Alright, I'm going to go further in. According to Koti 7:12, the firstly created lands were Awaji, Shima, and Shikuku Islands. Okay, so if they're saying in 721 these lands were created first, then there's some kind of earthquake or something, and these islands, so to speak, rise out of the sea. That means there's people living, the date is recorded, and people record the date that they see these things happening. So they have another festival. In the time of Awa Odri festival, more than 1 million people gather to Tokushima. Kush. In that mystery was the place where no tourist would come. So this is where the Ark is, on that separate island, in that province, isolated in the very center, on a mountain, with caves and legends. Oh, it just gets thick, doesn't it? Mima City in Tokushima. He says, believe, undoubtedly, there was a kingdom of ancient Israel in Shikoku. Excuse me. So, seemingly, it sounds very mountainish. Heart of the mountain. In the heart of the mountain, we reach a shrine. It's named the Yatomoko Kunitama Jinja. That shit is easier to read than English, man. So this is what the shrine looks like. And there, he has the 3 symbols of the menorah again. So he knows he has found an Israelite shrine. See, when they zoom in, you can see the menorah individually. 1, 2, 3. It said it might be related to the fact that the Tokushima were many people of the Hata clan. I wonder if that relationship with the Hata people. He said that if they had a relationship with the Hata people. And the Hata people again. In the mass, the people came through the Silk Road having high bridge nose. So, whatever we consider a high bridge nose, the people that are Japanese do not have that type of nose. Whatever a high bridge nose is, those people don't have it. It says, as the priest says, we found many. So, what they're doing is, I think they're looking for that name that dealt with the Hata people. This confused me the first time I saw this. Now the second time I saw it, because I saw this symbol on the Hata sign when they showed the Hata symbol earlier in the center of the area, blah blah blah. Whatever these are, it doesn't matter. This was the symbol. See the A? That's what stood out to me, the A. And then the 3 bars through the A. And then it's got the T underneath with an X. I don't know. But that's the same thing that's at this other place. They pass the gas station, and then see the A, see the 3 bars through the A, and then below it you got the T and a weird X. It's the same symbol. So it's the Hata sign. Hata. Hata, right there. See, it damn near look like a Christmas tree. It's a T and an X. See the X right there? It look like you can see that right there as an X. And then above it looks like a triangle. Looks like a pyramid, right? Looks like a pyramid with scaffolding around it. It says the city is indeed full of mystery. Alright, so they go up here and found another shrine. Now this is where the ambassador went twice. Now when the ambassador was in Israel, when they had to chase his ass back to Israel, and he had a picture showing you the shrine, this is the picture of what he had. Now this is the way up to it. After climbing many, so we reach a little strange spot. Now there's the entrance to the shrine. That's this. Now they're standing above the shrine. That's the. If here's the ground, here's part where the camera is, right? The camera's got an angle like that. The camera's in a part where people would not stand. People would stand down here, walk down here. See this? Their head would be right here. That's head level for that person. They'd go down there and they'd bow to that shrine and make their prayer and sacrifice. So you see how all these stones are unhewn stone? It's a bunch of stones. Now I can't help, this shrine looks like it's a freaking swimming pool and you walk inside it. You know, I can't help that it's dug into the ground. Most of the time we think of a shrine, we think of a table. Now this is a little different. This is a room with no ceiling, built on a mountain. Excuse me. They say that as soon as Mr. Cohen stepped into it, his manner suddenly changed. So there's the actual shrine. All this stuff you see around it, this is the actual shrine. See how there's many? So it's a place for monks. So if many monks started praying at once, they all have their individual shrine. Says the president of the local residents concerning the legend of the treasures of Solomon. He said, sorry. So this guy right here, he's like a priest. He's the caretaker of the place. He's the president, right? So it says, he said, if there is such a shrine here, there might be the Ark of ancient Israel around here. Because they know historically, after the Philistines have the Ark, nobody knows where it's at. Now, I know Ethiopians say they have the Ark. If you believe that shit, that's your Afrocentric fucking mindfuck. There's nothing in the Bible that says the Ethiopians have the Ark. The Bible says the Philistines do. So it says, but who built the shrine and for what? The descendants of those who built it still live here. It says, Ambassador Cohen said to us, you might originally be Israelites. Here, let's hear his reaction when to that. Okay, again, he has nothing that shows any Afro-Asian features. What he has, with the word truth being used, is he has Canaanite features. He has African features. The descendants of those who built the shrine still live here. Now this is where this is going to blow your mind, because this is the power of reading. Reading means people can't trick you. It says they live near the top of the mountain. So he goes into this village. Now watch this. He goes in this village and he meets this guy Najeo, who's a descendant of him. He says there are rules handed down from his ancestors. Alright? He says they have to keep the fire lit in the shrine always. Never to put it out. We have to add fire. Every day, yes. I hear this custom is the same as Israeli one. Do the Israelites have to keep have the same custom to keep fire? So this is what it looks like. It's a shrine that is to be kept lit. The old custom never to extinguish fire. Was the same as the ancient rule of Israeli temple, so that the lamps may be kept burning. This is Exodus 27 and 20. Now, remember, Exodus, they're on the move. How can you set up a temple and keep it burning if you're on the move? You understand what I'm saying? You cannot wander through Asia for 40 years, build one altar and keep it lit forever, because the camp is still moving. So it states, as expected, the 10 lost tribes of Israel who scattered the places of Asia come to Japan and to Tokushima. So they're also interested in the Ark, so they went to go see Homie here. Ousigi, research of ancient history, and he says the lost Ark of Israel is undoubtedly in Mount Tsari. It's in a limestone cave. And so they're like, bullshit, old man, we're going to go check it out. And so they go to the cave. And before they get there, they go on the 17th day. So remember, it's the 17th day of the 7th month when Noah's Ark hits ashore at Mount Ararat. A festival is held there. So on Tsari, or however it's pronounced, they have this festival there on the 17th day of the 7th month, the day that the Ark opened. It is a relic of the Israelites. So again, when I made a comment the other day, Israelites, descendant of Adam, right? Is it a relic of Israel to be brought, to have brought the Ark there? So they go into their history books of Tokushima, and halfway up the mountain there's a deep cave to a stone hut. So they went to ancient books to find out that this cave exists. Now they're going to get into the car and go find the cave. So they go and find the cave, and as they're walking to find the cave, we make a false step and we would have fallen. So there's a very thin ramp to climb up. You know, it's all natural. Everything was ominously still and silent. The path continued deep into the forest, and this so-called, Ko Tuksari Jinji Shrine. And so it's defined as a mysterious small shrine, as if sticking to thwart. The god whom the shrine is called Iwamado. Iwamado is the god of that shrine. And it says it means a door between rocks. Alright, so just because there's a god of the shrine, it doesn't mean that it's a powerful entity or anything like that. It just means that there's an entity guarding the doorway. Yes, that's exactly what it means. And so what is the shrine for? The door means an entrance. What does it say? The door means an entrance. What is the shrine for? Excuse me. Beyond the shrine, we can see the entrance to the cave. So there's the cave right there. The shrine is over here to the right. The cave's right there. The cave was breathing a white chill. See, they're kind of making it sound like you're reading a book now. Is this entrance to the limestone cave getting to the stone? Excuse me. Inside the cave was filled with cold air. Inner part had been unfortunately collapsed. So the route to take in the cave has collapsed. Unfortunately, it was dangerous. A big rock is closing the entrance, but I can confirm there is a hollow of sorts behind it. So again, this is probably the most dangerous type of rock. It is not an entrance that is below you where you have to pull rock out. It is an entrance that is above you. If you hit one rock the wrong way, all those rocks crush your puny little ass. It is the most dangerous kind of cave-in to have to deal with. Because as you can see, it makes a fool think he can walk up underneath here and play with the rock and rubble. All this rubble will fall and crush you. I mean, you literally have to stand a few feet away and or gently set dynamite, small amounts of dynamite, and then walk away and set the charge off. of a cave, and this is the most dangerous. So you can see right there, there's light coming from the other side of it. So it's too dangerous, so there's another route. And you can see there's a fucking ladder back here, right? See the rotted ladder? Somebody uses that. And what they used to do, I'm going to tell you, because I've seen further into this video, they used to carry this ladder in here. Now you watch this dude go in, and he's not gonna know what to do. But the ladder's right there. It's like a video game. You gotta come back, get the ladder, take it into the cave. Now we're gonna go watch inside of the cave, and you'll see what I'm saying. All right. From there inside was heard the sound of flowing water. Okay, so here's the cave. And here's the inside of the cave. And you can go down into the cave, and they go down into the cave. It's filled with cold air inside. So they go down. You can see they're on a ladder right there. Like, you can see the way the guy going down was using his hands. He's on a ladder right there. You could see a pole there for a second. Now, if they took that other ladder, threw it down, carried it with them up to here, and then use the ladder, they'd be able to go further up. But they stopped here. So they get to this point, and they can't go no further. This is where they need that ladder. He says the hole is connected from above. Above him, right? Man cannot go through. Man can't go through. He need that ladder right there. Is connected long from overhead. So you need something to get up there. Or you need somebody with some climbing skill that's not afraid to fall on some limestone, some sharp ass limestone. So the hole we entered was only a part of the limestone cave. You know, so you know how Americans are. If they'd have known about that cave, they'd have walked all up in that shit, dude. So inside Mount Saturday are a lot of this kind of limestone caves. So there's a bunch of these different caves in this mountain. You saw one cave with the shrine. You see the entrance to where they suspect the ark is. The way to just walk right to it. You see there's a cave in. You see there's a back entrance, and the back entrance they're afraid to climb the 12 to 15 to 20 feet. Now, I don't blame them. It was hard enough to climb the outside of the mountain with a cameraman because there's part where he's assisting the cameraman climb up. So they're done here. They're going to switch to back inside the studio, and they're talking about the Indiana Jones movie again. I'm going to skip ahead because we're running out of time. So they got a new investigation. Okay, so this is pretty good right here. Now where they're going to track the Tenju lead. Now remember, took a minute, we looked up the Tenju, and it leads to bird-like fuckers, right? This is the Tenju. So let's see what it says about the Tenju, because here's where it gets crazy. The Tenju was so it's asking, was the Tenju originally ancient Israel? Feathers of the Tenju are clothing of the Nyambishi. Now the Nyambishi are a type of monk. Okay, so it explains the clothing, the wings, and the fan. The long bridge nose, the goggle eyes, and the fan. And the fan in the hand. Now, the fan, we all know from Mortal Kombat, the fan is a weapon. Don't bullshit yourself. It's a fucking weapon. Now, what you don't understand is the scroll, the Torah Nomaki scroll in the other hand. Now, this is where it gets fucking crazy. No, I'm serious. Now, we've all heard people say, oh, Israelites started this, Israelites started that. So Torah, Nomaki, and we're about to learn how to kick ass with the word of God in our fists. It's called the tiger claw, right? And it's symbol. Oh, wait, I went too far. First, we gotta learn this part first. And then we learn about the Torah Nomaki. It's a fighting style. Legends of the Tenju are in places of Japan. Yes, I am excited. I'm excited. This is very fucking exciting right here. This part is mind-blowing. The Tenju is said to be a mountain god who calls wind, puts down fire, and performs miracles. No, not this part. The martial arts part that's coming up. But among these legends were found strange relics in Jews. Alright, now, this is going to lead us to Yisrael. When she says, keep the law in your, on your head, in the front of your mind. Excuse me. We're supposed to keep the law on our hand and on our head. So when people see us, they know. So here's a picture. They worship Tenju in the temple. So they go to this Israelite temple, and in the Israelite temple, they're worshiping this thing Tenju. Right? Now, I do not believe this is the creator. So this is the worship, from my opinion, of a different deity. But let's learn. Going along the path, the mountain is covered with snow. It is the place where Ushiwaku Maru once received a Torah Nomaki scroll from the Tenju. Alright, so the Tenju trained this Ushiwaki Maru. And as a graduation, Ushiwaka Maru, he gets from Tenju the 10 Commandments. Now listen. So first he's going to find the Star of David. And this kind of bothered me, because that means it's carved in just like those menorah symbols. See this? See the star there? Now, for my studies, that is the star of the nations combined to hold down the children of David. There could have been a time in the past when this was a symbol, just to say this is our homestead. Says it's the Star of David in the Kutra Marie or something like that. Get a little sick. David was king of ancient Israel. Star of David, the symbol of Israel, or was it ancient symbol of Israel, not modern. National flag of Israel today, Star of David. So they show these other designs, and then they can overlap them. It says it was drawn in the Capernaum in Israel from the 1st century CE. Why was the temple closely associated to Tenju? The key to solve the mystery on Mount Kubotu in Fukuoka, Japan. Oh boy, these names. Was to go to the mountain. Now, isn't it interesting? Each time they want to solve one of these Israelite mysteries, they have to go to a mountain. What did I tell you about Mount Ephraim? What did I say? They got strange shrines at Mount Ephraim. Here in the United States, same fucking thing. It says the old document recorded Mount Kabutu, says that in the 5th century, a goblin appeared in the mountain and surprised people. What was the goblin? So they go to the museum at the bottom of the mountain. And the curator has this ancient picture. He goes to the vault that's got a wooden door that you can just break because it's wood. He goes to the 3rd shelf. He goes 3 sets over, 1 set, 2nd set, 3rd shelf, 3 up and over to the right, and he pulls out a scroll. And with the scroll is a picture, and on the picture, here, I'll show you the whole picture again. It's not just that. It's a giant picture with a bunch of them. And it's got many of these things, and they have the human characteristic given, right? It does not have the bird beak. So this is a later adaptation. The original images of these things, when they were seen, was a bird beak. Remember, we read that in the Wikipedia. Alright? So, keep that. Is earliest Tenju picture with beaks. But this feature has often been humanized. They don't want to see these things in fear, right? So if this Tenju is a angel, and the angel is sent to teach these Israelites, or if this Tenju is a fallen angel and these Israelites accept him as their teacher. So he says, I think it is not an imagination, but based on a model. So I believe they're talking about the noses in general. And he talks about the style of drawing is different than regular Chinese, because you can see there was a model for the Tenju. Remember, the Tenju really resembles the mask of the Hatta people. And this mask of the Hatta people, it reminds me of the story of Azazel during the festival of atonement, when Azazel takes the goats with the sins. You know, it's as if somebody puts the Azazel mask on and walks the goats to meet Azazel and gives the Azazel the mask. I mean, the goats. So he goes, what is the true character of the Tenju? Right? So when you see this image, you know, lifelike, it looks kind of like the guy that says, the Amish dude that says he's a Jew and he doesn't. You know, I think that's kind of funny. You know, they go, was he really an Israelite? So, I mean, really that's what they're doing. They're giving you a picture of an Ashkenazi person. It doesn't matter that he's wearing a prosthetic nose. It still looks like an Ashkenazi person. And he goes, was he really an Israelite? Now, if you pay attention to the features, big nostrils, bearded man, and don't pay attention to skin tone, and you have what people assume is an African-esque looking person. Alright? So, this Bible exhibitor that they've been talking to all the time says, the small black box called the token, which the Tengu puts on his forehead. Now it's a box, and inside the box they hold the 10 Commandments. Now listen, they're going to explain this. It's not like I'm making this shit up. Very similar to a Jewish custom. So here's the image in stone. And you can see how it's a container, and the container fits with a strap onto the forehead. This is where you keep your law on your mind at the whole time. The Jews have a similar custom to Tengu's token. So they're going to go to Israel, and then they're going to find this dude. I skipped ahead a little bit. This is Rabbi Henry Noah, right? Yeah, Henry. Now look how his nose looks like the Tengu fucking mask, but he's not wearing a prosthetic nose. Alright? So, I mean, fuck, that's a hawker, dude. Right? Come on. See, she's got a little push play button nose, and he's got a big, gigantic... I don't even know what to call that shit, dude. It literally looks like he's got a finger on his nose. He looks like Gonzo. Hey, dude, you're taking up all the fucking air. You mind? Breathe out of your mouth for a minute. So, they show him the picture, and watch what he does. He says Jews have a similar custom. Now he's going to go in the back. They're going to put some advertising on screen. Same fucking names keep popping up. Maruhan. So, just, like a closed curtain, they want to, they want to pixelate it so that you're going to be surprised. And he comes out, let's remove the pixelation. And you see, he's got the box right there on his head. And he comes out and he's wearing this box on his top of his head, not his forehead. But he's supposed to have it on his forehead. The figure shows the Jews pray. They got the box on his head, right? So you see on the side of it, it has a type of menorah. It seems to have 4 bars instead of 7. This box is called the phallatre. That says penis, but inside it is a Jewish law written on parchment paper. So, whatever it's called, the token contains the law. We all know the law is the 10 Commandments. And on parchment paper, so inside this is a small piece of paper holding the 10 Commandments. So on his forehead, or on his mind, on his frontal lobe, is always the 10 Commandments when he's wearing that box. So this is something I really wanted you to see. Right? And then he'll go into the law and shows us where the holy book, where the law is. In the Old Testament. Right? He's not going into the New Testament. So, a Jew after finishing training, this is very important, see? So, the dude was up on the mountain. Torah Nomaki in Japanese means Torah scroll. It is the Jewish Torah. Right? The first 5 books, right? Within the first 5 books is the law. The 10 Commandments. You also have the eating laws, the sex laws. So you have all these laws. You have the first 5 books on the top of your forehead. So while you're worried about carrying all these books, you need to worry about carrying the law on your fucking head. Excuse me for saying effing with that, but you need to carry the law on your head. So it says, a Jew after finishing training is to receive the Torah scroll. So what was going on was that other guy, the Mari guy, was up with the Tegu training. What? Training under the law of Israelites. So it doesn't matter how pale they paint these Hata people. We already know what the Hata people look like. Now, then you get the scroll. You get the scroll in your head, in the little box, and then you get a scroll. Remember we looked at the statue? The statue, one hand, Tengu had a fan. The other, he had a scroll, right? The Torah scroll, which the Tegu has, is also handed to the person who finished training. Now this scroll, this is a metal bar. It's a fucking weapon. Yes, you have the law, but you at the same time, you have a metal rod and a grip to defend yourself. Now we go into the Torah Maki. What does it say? What is it? World Shotokan Karate. Torah no Maki. So you were training to learn fucking tiger style and the 10 Commandments. Listen, are you understanding what I'm saying? You were supposed to go unto the nations and teach them the laws of God. When somebody mouthed off to you, you were supposed to give them the backhand of the scroll. Pow! You got trained to fight, to defend yourself, and you got trained what you were defending, the law. So we're running out of days. End of days. If we get another chance to Torah no Maki, we'll focus. Listen, this fighting style is called Torah. Your Bible's called Torah. The fighting style is called Torah. So, you got handed a Torah no Maki, a Torah scroll, when you finished training. Alright, so he has 1, 2, 3 scrolls right there. That means it's graduation. He's got 1, 2, 3 students. But this is only about, what's his name? Maraki. Something Maraki. And see, here's old dude sitting down back here. He's got the fan. And there's the scrolls he's about to hand out. The graduates are going to get those graduation gifts. So now you have the Amish dude wearing another person's religion, right? This is syncretism. This is somebody else pretending to be a Jew, saying that they're Jews, and statues dedicated to them. So how long have these people been saying that they're Jews? This is the key. See, these images, when they started off, it was of bird people. So when you read that the Tenju started off as bird people, but is being humanized, don't forget, your black ass has been marginalized. So if the Tenju looked black, or was it a bird with black skin or anything like that, depicted as both human and avian, they're not going to put your image in this thing that they think is a demon or a god. So get that out of your head. The ancient Israelites that are known as Afro-Asian thought the mountain as a holy place to approach God, as if they had to talk to the Tenju to be able to speak with God. Hence, the Tenju would have been ordered to teach the Israelites. Nowhere in the Bible does it say God came down and taught the Israelites. Yes, it says God talked with Moses. He gave him the commandments. It don't say. I'm not going to get into it because we all know that other people have tampered with the Old Testament as well. So, you know what I'm saying without even saying it all. But again, you find these things in the mountains. They often prayed, purified themselves, and trained and worshipped in the mountain. So again, focus on the mountain, man. So people would have seen such a figure and face. Well, we know that's a lie. The face would have been of a bird. You're lying. And people would have now you're not lying, and people would have gradually improved an image of the Tenju. Let's go back. Depicted both human and earliest Tenju were pictured with beaks, but the feature has often been humanized, as in a naturally long nose. So we go back and it says, and people would have gradually improved the image. The image of God is red and black, as it says in Revelation, and we see God painted white all the time. The image of the Messiah, King David, would have been a golden afro look, and we see a Caucasus look today. So, people constantly, gradually change the image to how they suit themselves, calling it improved versions. So I think we're at 5 of 7. There ain't that much more. There ain't that much more. They go up and they got these puppets talking and shit. There really ain't that much more. Let me just double, triple check. They went back to Japan. They go into the mountain area. Okay, so they got this tabernacle, right? And the tabernacle is the length of the holy of the size and the shape, direction, and use of the tabernacle is very similar to the ancient Israelite tabernacles, but he says Israeli. Now they'll do a comparison. The size was 10 by 30, so you have 10 and then 30 long cubits. And you can see when you overlap the two, they're exactly the same size. So this is one of their shrines that they know is an Israelite shrine, and then they take the ancient measurements of 10 by 30 cubits. And it shows that they match. We're going to go to the next one real quick. It says the entrance is to the east, and the holiest of holies sits at the west end. And in both the situations, they match up as well. We're going to go further. They talk about another celebration that they have. A hidden ancient secrets being revealed. When Solomon said, "Bring the logs from Lebanon," they cut the logs down and dragged them down the hill. So they're going to talk about that. It's another thing that equates to that tradition. It says here that they have another festival, and the festival revolves around Abraham about to sacrifice Isaac, but not doing so. And then they bring up that this festival, priest offered the heads of sacrificed deer to pray to the Jinjuku shrine. So when Abraham sacrifices a ram instead, they said the style of the festival had been different before 1871, and then in 1871 they started using deer heads. Because in the Bible it talks about a ram. Prior to 1871 they used rams, but they probably killed like most of the rams in Japan, so they had to stop using rams and they had to use deer. So then they find this scripture in the Bible, and it's in Mount Moriah again. Moriah is a hill center of Jerusalem, center of the Jewish heart and the Holy Lands. Oh, that's not the same thing. No, excuse me. Here, Abraham. Here it talks about Abraham right there. The article, Genesis 22. Abraham took his son Isaac to the hill and tried to sacrifice him, but an angel stopped him. So then we go further. I want to make sure they're talking about the same thing when he switches to the next part. When he switches to Moriah, the hill, heart in the Holy Lands. The Suwa Tashish shrine is built to worship the god of Mount Moriah. Alright, so we have seen many similarities between to the Bible, and moreover, the shrine hold. Excuse me. So here's another thing that they do. So the shrine holds the Amiwatri ceremony of Shua Lake. So basically, see, here's where they start the Jesus stuff. This lake freezes over. They consider it a phenomenon because in winter, ice of the lake rises up, so the lake isn't at normal surface. Like if you put water in this glass and it freezes, it'll freeze right here. What they're saying is when you freeze, the lake of this lake during wintertime, the ice rises up and it makes a trail. And what they say is this trail is the trail God walks on. And again, these people will start their blasphemy and they'll call Jesus God, and they'll say this is how Jesus walked on water. So they say the track that is left, they say it is a track because when the ice rises up, it breaks past the other ice and it leaves this jagged line. See that? And they say this is the path God walked. So obviously they're saying God can't walk a straight line, for crying out loud. So they're going to hit the books and they're going to talk about Jesus for a second. Seems the Israelites living near Suwa Lake named the mountain Mount Moriah, being associated with their homeland. So now they're claiming the mountain was named by them. They also built a shrine there, held biblical festivals. As expected, the roots of Japan. It says, as expected, were the roots of Japan. Were the roots of Japan were ancient Israel. We will continue the investigation. Again, they've stated the whole time people came to their land. Japanese people were already there. So again, no, Japan are not related to Israelites. They've been heavily influenced. So here we go into sumo, and they're going to find some ancient things about sumo, and then they're going to take the story from the Bible where it talks about Jacob wrestling with an angel. And they believe Jacob sumo wrestled an angel. So they dig down the oldest family of sumo. And they find out who distributed sumo to everybody else. The history of sumo. And until 1949. So before 1949, the family was only one who could give the license to yokomuzen, however that's pronounced, whatever. So only one family allowed people to sumo wrestle in the beginning. Okay, they kept up the tradition of sumo, and sumo became popular among ordinary people in the Edo era. So sumo started as a monk thing, and then it slowly grew. So Mr. Naka, priest, wrestled the sumo in front of the emperor for the first time. So he's talking about this guy that wrestled for the first time in front of the emperor. It is said he was from Azumo, which today is Shimane. So everything is Shin or Shim. Not Shem. Shim. So the sumo originator was from Izumo. So one of these guys is who they're talking about. You see how one has pale skin and one has dark skin. You see that? One has pale skin, one has dark skin. He's just wearing some black garb. The dude with the dark skin has a very elegant garb. So, then does Uzo, the city, have any relic, the connection of ancient Israel? So they start looking and they found a couple of things in this museum. And he can't bring the actual artifact out. He can only bring a picture of the artifact out. And what they do have is some vases. And at the top of the vases, right here, you have two men with their arms entwined. Actually, it's his arms are on this guy's shoulders, and his arms are over here in his armpits. So they're locked up like sumo wrestlers. And they also have one more picture. I don't know if I skipped it already. They had something else. It was more than just this. I probably skipped it. And they showed another thing where it's very old, Can't remember if it was pottery or something like that. And you can see they're wearing sumo gear in it. I think it was more pottery. Nope, can't find it. Can't find it. It was two figures with vases on their heads, as if they were wrestling, and if the vase fell off their head, they lost. And it was like that, but it wasn't like that. I don't seem to see it, and this is the end of the video. And that's too bad. It was kind of a weird picture. I wondered how anybody could wrestle like that. That's that one. It's the same thing. Sorry, I'm just checking because it's worth looking at. Scanning the scroll bar. I don't see it. Oh well. We're gonna just go ahead and move on. Alright, so I really can't believe I got through all 7 of those in one video. I'm sorry, I don't know how long the video is. It's 2 a.m., it's 2:30. I'm sure I started before midnight. So look, if you know your Bible, you know the Israelites went up against the Philistines. Sometimes they defeated the Philistines. There was a time they didn't defeat the Philistines. When they didn't defeat the Philistines walked away with the Ark of the Covenant. Alright, and it plagued them. They had to hide it. We see a lot of artifacts that show the Israelites were there in Japan. When we look at the location of Japan, let's say Japan is up here. We don't see any Israelites on film ever in Japan. But we do know that based on Japan's actions, Japan is one of the 10 kings. Chinese, Japan, whether they're both considered one or they're considered 2 separate entities, that's a coin toss. Only study will solve that equation. But the South Pacific Ocean, Japan has gone out and conquested some of these places. When you look at the children of Solomon Island, the people of Papua New Guinea, we know those are Negroes. We know they do not belong on those islands. At some point in history, they had to be moved there. When you look at the location of Japan in the South Pacific, it is easy to assume they sent those people to those islands on boat. It is not a far-fetched idea. When we look at the Asians, or the people that call themselves Asians that pretend to be us, when we look at the Cambodians, when we know the history, the prophecy that was in their temple, written on the outside of the wall and covered up by trees, like somebody purposely took seed to cover the temple so people wouldn't see the prophecy of the dark-skinned bearded Asians would go in slavery. When we know those Cambodians intermingled with the Chinese, went to war with the Chinese and lost to the Chinese, we can see a pattern. We can clearly see a pattern. When we go back in history and we find out that Chinese are Canaanites, we learn that Israelites went through the land of Canaan and were rejected to use the King's Road, the Silk Road. Rejected to use the Silk Road. You've got to go around. When we put all these things in order, the Ark of the Covenant, the festivals surrounding the Ark of the Covenant, the Gaian festival, that's really the Zion festival, the martial arts,
the training of the law and the defense of the law through hand-to-hand combat. The law being carried on your head. When we look at Bruce Lee movie, we see sackcloth and ash. We see the death. Bruce Lee is Chinese, not Japanese. We see when Bruce Lee's father dies. He gets in all white. He gets in the sackcloth gown. Many of our customs are in China and in Japan. And when the Japanese say, hey, these customs are here, all they say, are the ancient China, are the Chinese related, are the Japanese related to ancient Israel? That's what they say. They can go in history, their history books, and dig up this, dig up that, and dig up anything else. But they will not go into their history books and say, well, at this point, we marginalized them. At this point, we subjugated them. At this point, we did this to them. At this point, we did that to them. No, they're going to go through history pretending that they're the children of Shem and lie and not admit that they are Hamitic children, that they are Canaanites and Philistines. The Chinese, they're not ashamed of their name, but the Japanese are. China's name, Sin, goes back to the Bible. Japan's name does not go back to the Bible. It's called shame. Why are they ashamed? Why do they hold festivals that is the root of the Japanese people that have nothing to do with their culture at all? If you go over there, you'll be marginalized. You'll be thrown to the bottom of the caste system. Yet, any culture you bring that is non-Japanese, they will steal it from you and act it out as if it's theirs. Is that not the same goddamn thing that the white man's doing for 400 years? About the Philistines and who they really are. Now, when Israel was at war with the Philistines defeated Israel. And the Philistines kept the Ark of the Covenant. Now, the Ark of the Covenant, it had a really, really profound effect on the Philistines. So they had to hide it somewhere where the Israelites couldn't get it to attempt to defeat the Philistines again. So, what we're going to do is we're going to listen to some people say that they're Israelites or related to Israelites. But we already know that's not true, based on their physical appearance. And later down the line, or if you feel like it, we're going to bring out the Bible stories and match it to this video so that people can clearly see that the people I'm about to show you are the Philistines. Not the people that are in the West Bank now. Now, are you ready? When we go into the Wikipedia, it explains that Chinese and Japanese are called Shinto. But it's very interesting because the Japanese, well, you'll see along the way. Now, the Cathorum are not considered Canaanites, but they were brought up and into Canaanite land. Now, we're going to see something huge, all right? And the evidence that you're going to see, they're going to present it in a way like they're a bloodline And based on the words I've shown you in this little monologue, you're going to see that they're not a bloodline. You're going to know immediately they're not a bloodline. But you're going to understand where this history comes from and why they're portraying it at the angle they are. Okay. Now, I've probably hit it in the title. I mean, I probably plain out told you in the title. We're going to be looking at the Japanese people today. And I'm going to say that I believe the Japanese are the Philistines of the Bible, the Cathorum, Africans. Now remember, the Chinese man did the DNA test and he said, we believe everybody stemmed from us. But then they found that they stemmed from other people and found that they were Africans. Now, that video, it means a lot to some people, but a lot of people really haven't dug into the full interpretation of what that actually means. Because these people are literally saying that they're Africans. On another video, not on this video. This video is, if you were into the Bible, this is going to blow your fucking mind. Climbing to the mountain of truth. Climbing the mountain of truth. Truth does not end in vain. The HFSIN. You can find any encyclopedia that's going to tell you the same thing. You type in Shinto religion, that's the religion the Bible calls worship of Ashtaroth. There's no way around this. So people going around saying people in China are Moab, they're fucking lying to you. Their ancient name is really connected to their modern name, and there's no fucking way around it. Period. People are just plainly lying to you. Now, we know the Hittite from Canadian writings of 1890. We know the Hittite has been in Canada. They're considered Mongolian, even though they're African. Now that's the fucked up thing. The guy writing says, hey, the Hittite, the John Campbell, 1890. Very easy to find, not hard at all. John Campbell, 1890, compares the Peruvian people down there, the Incas in Peru, to the Hittites in Canada. And we know from the Bible, Hittites are African. Where the fuck are there any black Africans? So today we're going to examine the Philistines, the people that were called Cathorum first, and then they were moved by the Lord from Africa, out of Africa, to an area. Now the area that they were in is a place that that Israelites previously resided. That's the interesting thing that the Bible says. Now, Catholic authorities want you to believe that Israel is in what we call the Levant area of the Mediterranean Sea. Now, the Mediterranean is very important. You, with dark skin, you have sickle cell anemia running through your body. People of the Mediterranean have thalassemia or something like that, which is an anemia. We have blood anemia and they have bloody anemia. It's very interesting. On the lower half of the Mediterranean, you have Morocco and the people that used to live in Morocco. Hannibal, a black African, who historians say is Esau. Turks are light skinned and stringy hair. There's evidence that Turks are Esau, the mighty men of what? Esau. Obadiah talks about the Turkish Empire. It might be the Byzantine Empire. When the Ottoman Arab Empire is talked about in Obadiah. See, this is the things you're not learning from other Bible. You're learning right here. This is the point of 700 videos. Because inch by inch by inch, we learn the truth. Today we're going to learn about... Alright, hello everybody. No matter what nationality you are, I hope you worship the Creator and you're here to learn so that you can use the things that you learn to wake people up, because we're in the land of Nod. That's why people always go, you're asleep. No other place in the world do they do that shit. We are in the land of lies. I was at work today, and this this European woman who claims to be American says to the Asian, who's really an African, what's your worst, what do you hate worst about Americans? And all of a sudden I heard in my mind a guy standing there with a timer and going, how many can you get in 20 seconds? And, you know, that's what I heard, you know, but the woman said to the little Asian dude, what do you hate worse? What's the worst thing about Americans? And, you know, he didn't give her an answer, of course, because they didn't pay their bill yet or tip yet, so I think that was the smartest thing he could have did. But of course, oh, I spilled on myself. Oh, shit. Like a fucking child, man. But of course, the lies have to be the biggest, you know, because when you get into the American lies, one goes into the next, and the deceit is insane. It truly is insane. Christianity leading the whole world into believing that Christ is God, and that's leading the whole world into the abyss, or hell, however you want to put it. White supremacy? Come on. I don't know, taxes? There's so many things to hate about America. You know, if you said, what do you love about America? I'm flabbergasted right now. You know, I think that would probably shut me up. So, we have been learning for some time. We've learned that the Canaanites are the people that we call, for the most part, Asians today. We learned that the Chinese is the Shin, or the Shinto, or the Shinta, or the Shintu, however you want to do it. But they are the people of sin. You drop the H and you have S-I-N instead of S-H-I-N. No, don't you? And he says, yes, I even wish I could meet him. And invite him as a guest. What do you say history in English history? His story. To tell the truth, history is his story. So here we have this setting you up to believe that they're going to tell you the truth. Do you know who he is? Now watch, here's where they just go off base completely, to a degree. Do you know who he is? He is the Messiah. Now, here we have some kind of a problem. Obviously, his story deals with the Creator. The first line in the Bible is God created, or created God. Okay? So his story has nothing to do with the Messiah. But when we go back a little bit, and they have carved in the tree David, right here, see at 104 when they have the tree, and it says they have a shrine to David. Here, I'll just click on it real quick. There, in Japan, there exists a shrine to David. So when we go back up here, when he says, you know, his story is for, the Messiah, right? So this is a reference to David. Now, I don't care if the Japanese believe in Christ. I don't care if the Japanese believe Goku can fire fucking fireballs. The Bible says that Prince David is the begotten son. The hidden books taken out of the Bible state that David gets to rule in the afterlife. So that places David as the Messiah. Now, we'll continue. That is the history of him, his or him, or, and to him. Now we will introduce some mysteries of history. We'd like you to enjoy and think what the facts are. The first one is this. Well, everyone, have you ever thought of the roots of Japan? If the roots were connected with Israel, land of 9,000 kilometers away, what do you say? So I'm going to take a second right here. Now I want you to understand. When says German philosopher Nietzsche, the truth of history is really a grand mystery. With interference, reasoning, deduction, and theory, people have been imagining and pursuing fantasy and truth. Tonight we will be introducing unsolved mysteries of the Japanese history and pursue the lost truth. I'm going to mute this. There's no point in that playing with me. Huh? Oh, that's horrible with no sound, isn't it? You just hear that fan over and over again. That's annoying, isn't it? New theories for Japanese. So there's a Japanese folk song. It's called Yaren Soran, and it was Hebrew. Mysterious correspondence between Japanese and Hebrew. Are the roots of Japan traced to ancient Israel? He says, I was so surprised. It is a mysteries. So they're going to say mysteries over it. In Japan, there exists the shrine named David. So they'll be looking at this later. And there's a shrine with David's name in it. What is the evidence from 1300 years ago? History is the fantasy of imagination is my motto. I am the president of Mino Mystery Museum, Manta Mino. So this is Manta Mino. And this is his assistant, Miho Ohashi, announcer. And today's mysteries are not just mysteries. We have here 4 controversialists.
ミステリーといえばどんな興味をお持ちですか。
He asks if he's interested in mysteries. He says, well, we don't know old times exactly, so they are mysteries. But I'm especially interested in the Buddhist monk Kukai. For instance, what was he doing? And he'd like to meet him.
空海とかね、何をやってたかっていうのはね、
いきなり空海ですよ。すごいでしょ。
ね、そうですね。
でも知りたいよ。
So he brings this guy up, so he says, ooh, the sudden appearance. You know, there's no appearance, it's just the thought of this character of the history. So he says, what do you know? You want to